It's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the happy entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue focused late night show in the country where we're on a mission. And our mission is really to inspire, and our mission is to empower you, the entrepreneur, with all of the tools and the resources that are necessary to execute that big vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And on this episode, we have the one and only Sabrina James, who's in the building. What's up, Sabrina? How are you?
Hi, I'm well. Thank you for inviting me here. I'm excited.
Well, I'm excited to have you here. Considering you're right down the street, by the way. I mean, felt like we should have been face-to-face, eye-to-eye contact, but through the power of these fiber optic lines, we're doing it. So let me start off. Taxes and accounting. I mean, folks are reading your bio right now. I get that. Here's the question. Why do we, myself, entrepreneurs, why do we avoid, not all of us, because if this doesn't apply to you, it's not you, why do we avoid really bringing on a bookkeeper or an accountant when we're first starting the business? What's the hesitation? What's the resistance?
I think in a lot of minority communities, we are not brought up to understand the importance of having financials, and even our personal lives, which always overflow into our business life as well. So, knowing the importance of having that bookkeeper and accountant, they realize that, okay, at some point they're going to need to know the actual numbers. But I think the number one would be the cost. They're not sure, of course, how much will it be? Or they're not exactly sure what the process looks like. They don't know any accountants in their local community. So how do they know they're not being ripped off? And then also trust, it's like, who can you trust with your money? So this is number one factor, trust. And then also the cost of having a bookkeeper and accountant, and then the importance of having one as well too. I think those three main things is what stop people from actually, when they first start a business, why they don't seek out an accountant.
So can we talk to two types of individuals? Let's first talk to the person. I was that person that's in business. There might be some of the folks watching. They're full-time, work full-time. So they're a dualpreneur. They work a full-time job and they're a full-time entrepreneur. And they're like, well, I'm not really making that much money right now. Doesn't make sense to spend money to have someone do my books when, it's just not a lot of money coming in right now. What would you say to that person? Now, I know it's a loaded question, right? Because it doesn't mean they're uneducated, because they could have a couple letters behind their name. It doesn't mean that they don't know about it. But for whatever reason, they have that mindset that I'll just wait until I'm rolling in the hot sauce or the dough in the cash flow. Then I'll reach out to an accountant. What would you say to that person?
Right. So I would say the cost for most small businesses startup, the investment you would pay for an accountant or a bookkeeper, you would get that 10 times over. And one of the forms you would get it back is your tax write-off with your business tax returns. It's a write-off expense. And also going to help you better prepare your business in terms of seeing that true calculation of how much you earn. A lot of people talk about the revenue, but on the income statement, you have the revenue minus the expenses. So do you have a real profit and a loss? Also, it can stop you from getting further funding, further investors to come aboard as well too, because you don't have those financials to produce. So the small investment, the monthly fee that you would pay for an accountant versus the funding you can get from banks for loans, attracting investors to your company, having that benefits of being tax ready, it outweighs the cost of paying that monthly cost.
When I was on that side of the coin, and I'm embarrassed to say, by the way, I've had my tax challenges, and thank God for a bookkeeper. Thank God for an accountant. Without you guys, I tell you, I don't know what we would do. But in all seriousness, I used to think, well, I'm burning through my 401k. Don't judge me at the time, by the way. Maxed out my credit cards. Don't judge me at the time, right? And my car had been repossessed more than one time. Again, don't judge me. And I'm thinking the last thing I need to do is try to find some money for an accountant to tell me I don't have any money. Now, we're going to talk to the other folks in a moment, but if for folks that are just getting started, they know they're not profitable. They're like, I'm spending so much money on training and so much money hiring a coach, and I'm spending so much money getting a website and all this stuff together. I know there ain't no money because I'm self-funding it. So why bother with that now? And I could just let why stop what I'm doing now and slow down? What would you say to that person?
Right, because it is a business. Any successful business needs an accountant. You cannot name any business that's successful who does not have an accountant or normally typically an attorney. So it depends on their business goals. If they just want to do it as a hobby and say, hey, I just make some money, I just want to do it for my passion, maybe you're not at an investment, but it's really more so for people who want to grow their business. So it needs to be put in the initial budget. It's essential. So having to explain like why you need an accountant, I guess it depends upon, again, your financial view of life, but it's something that should be built out to know that this is something that's mandatory along with having a website, because you can, it's not even about having a lot of money and not having enough, but being able to manage it and have someone explain and interpret your financials to you as well, so you'll know which pathway to take. Maybe you want to change courses and offer and niche in on a special service versus doing these 5 other services, but not having those financials available, you're not able to do that.
Now I've been on the other side. So well said. Thanks. I've been on the other side, which I'm at now, where, the money was coming in. We were making the sales. And I remember I made my first $1 million, like 1.1 million and some change, only to be told I owe the IRS. I'm like, well, how can I owe the IRS? There's no money in the bank, right? But I didn't slow down, right? And the reason was I was like, well, I'll be able to pay it. I'll just make another sale. Again, this is not a Shea Brown confession, by the way. But there might be folks out there that get the very first contract, right? And or they hire the first employees, and things weren't structured. And what I learned is I had the wrong structure. So take a moment and talk to the person that's generating their cash flow. The money's coming in, and they're like, well, I'll just write a check. Watch it, they slow down now and check in and do a review of their books. And more importantly, meet with their bookkeeper, which you guys want to meet every 3 months, which is a lot of time, but it's important. It's important. But why should they slow down?
Well, it's not necessarily about your revenue. Again, it's not about the money you earn. It's about your bottom line. Your expenses is accounted for as well too. So if you are making $1 million, but you might be spending 1.5 million, are you profiting anything? And it looks like, oh, well, I got all this money, I can do this. So, it's not a factor. And really, you're just running yourself. The business is in debt. But how will you know this unless you don't have any financials there? So it's really hard to account for. It's not based upon a percentage of, or even how much money someone makes, but really being able for someone to interpret, hey, you know what? I noticed on your profit and loss statement under this specific account, normally it's meals and entertainment. There's
those are business meetings. I mean, for the record, they're business meetings in case, I'm joking with
right.
you.
Business, meals, and entertainment is typically the highest where you see most of the expenses go outside of contract labor. But, I may make that call and caution some of my clients, not because I want to regulate their behavior, but I want to make them aware. So you may want to budget. I'm only going to spend X amount of dollars in this particular category. So having someone to say, you know what, let's stop the leak. You can have a huge ship, but what is the benefit of having a ship if there's a small leak in the ship? Eventually you're going to sink. It may not be quick because you have all this cash coming in, but 5 years from now, you may be bankrupt, and that money you spent on website marketing and all these other things, you could have just simply hired an accountant and with someone that can give you some financial advice on how to move forward.
Yeah, one of the reasons I wanted to have you here, and I'm thankful for Javon Wooten, who connected us, by the way. What an amazing guy he is, a super collaborator, and he connected us together. Is because I know where his heart is. And when I got to meet you, and I'm meeting you for the very first time, I was like, whoa, we were talking in agreement. I was like, this is needed because I want you to talk to the person that may be getting the IRS letter and letters that are coming in are embarrassed. So, in full confession, I had a boat, this Bayliner boat, by the way. It's probably the worst decision I made, but at the time I was pretty cool, by the way. Anyway, and so I went to a different accountant because at one of these meetings, someone told me, hey, Shay, I can go ahead and help get you money back. You shouldn't owe. And they changed the cost of good line, right? And I didn't know anything differently. So I said, sounds good. I get money, not paying money, only to find out it triggered an automatic audit. And then I had to go back to my original accountant, who I'm still with now. It's kind of like going back to the wife, I should say wife or husband, and saying, hey, I made a mistake over here. And it took me about almost 9 months to even tell this person what had happened because I was getting letters in from the IRS. I was embarrassed. I was ashamed because I should know better. And here I was putting the letters in my drawer. And it was embarrassing. So for the person that says, I've got some things in my closet, and maybe Shay's the only one. I might be by myself. I mean, it's okay if I am.
Yes,
What
you're
would you
not.
say to the person says, hey,
You're
I'm listening to you, Sabrina. I'm interested in maybe reaching out, but I owe them the bill. I don't even open the letters up anymore. What would you say to that person that's listening right now? Like, yeah, I'm in a situation. I need
not.
help.
Right. So I think there's probably many listeners that would probably can definitely contest to what you're saying. So I get a lot of clients that are in that situation. First time new clients that come to me, a lot of times it's often too late to where the IRS is like, okay, you need to go to tax court, or now we have finished the audit, you didn't respond. I would say the worst thing you can do is not respond. If you, and I have a lot of people that I do speak to the IRS on their behalf. I'm a licensed tax preparer. I may speak to the IRS on their behalf. A lot of my clients in the past are afraid to even call in the IRS to respond to the letter. So you're just like, how do I respond? I don't know what to tell them. I don't want to tell them the wrong thing. I don't want them asking me too many questions that I can't give truthful answers to. Consult with a licensed tax preparer. And I'm not just saying, or a CPA or a tax attorney or an enrolled agent. And the reason why I specify that on the credentials are there's a lot of people in the tax world, may work for H&R Block or whatever have you, and definitely in different states, they're not required to have those credentials, therefore learning the tax law. They might just be behind a software, putting numbers in a computer, like you said, guarantee you that refund. I can get you some money back, or I can get this done. Be very cautious of people that overpromise. It's like, what
Yeah.
are you doing that someone hasn't done if it was legal? Per se, unless there's some new tax law credit that applies to you, that person would be doing. And oftentimes the taxpayer is the one left with the bill, left with that process. So consult with someone who has tax knowledge, but also understand, be ready to, they may say, okay, you get a letter for $62,000, but for you to pay a tax preparer or a CPA or a tax accountant maybe $3,500 to resolve that, or even bring that balance down, I think it's worth an investment. So seek someone that is knowledgeable in tax law and that can contact the IRS on your behalf and give you some advice on what you should do and how you should respond.
Mm. They're wondering
The
now,
worst
who
thing
who
to
is
do though
this?
Yeah, the
Go ahead.
worst
I'm
thing you
sorry.
can
Go
do is
ahead.
avoid the IRS. You do not avoid them. Even if you have to call and say, "Hey, I acknowledge your letter. I just hired a tax preparer and they're in the process of researching my account. Please notate that on my account." Even if you haven't found anyone, at least respond. They want a response. They want to know that they're not being ignored.
Hmm. Don't ignore them. They're wondering, Shay, who is this person you're talking to? What's her backstory, and what led her to doing what she's doing now? So can we slow down for a moment? Then we'll speed back up. But can you tell the
Okay.
audience a little about who is Sabrina James? What's the origin story that led you on this path to doing what you're doing now?
Sure, sure. So, Sabrina James, I am in the DMV area. I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia. So Georgia's my home state. I'm a sweet Georgia peach. However, I have not always been in the accountant field. I started out my career early on in property management as a property manager. And then I was promoted up. I'm sorry, I started as assistant manager. Then I was promoted up to a property manager. I did it for 6 years. And I kind of got burnt out, evicting people, the pressure of corporate to make a certain amount of income, dealing with residents every day. It's a really tough industry to be in. So eventually I got a call from a staffing agency who thought that I would may be a good fit for a property accountant. And I had no clue which, she saw that I had the experience using the software, but I didn't realize I had transitional skills as a property manager that I did in terms of applying rent payments, coding invoices, working with vendors, creating budgets, using that software as well too, that led into me becoming a property accountant. So after I did that for about a year or two, that's when I sought out my degree in accounting from Georgia State University. And then once I earned well, even while I was in college, I was working at a lot of big corporations. Really, mostly my background is in real estate accounting. So I have experience in commercial and also residential property accounting. So I worked for a lot of multi-million dollar companies doing accounting there. And during COVID, I was laid off. But before I was laid off, I would listen to a lot of inspirational podcasts like this one, also YouTube, but just more so in getting the mindset of having the importance of having multiple streams of income. So before I was laid off, I started kind of all a side business, just kind of wanting to test the waters with just getting a few bookkeeping clients through QuickBooks. I got my QuickBooks Online certification, and I got a few QuickBooks bookkeeping clients. And at that time, I was also taking tax classes to become a licensed tax preparer. Even though I was exposed to the industry, I didn't have all the tax knowledge that I needed at the time. So the COVID, I got laid off, and it really opened up. It really was a great opportunity for me. It opened up the doorway for me. I had a lot more corporate clients reaching out to me in terms of wanting to use me as a contractor rather than an employee. Of course, everybody was working remotely. So I was able to do that work. And then I kind of got like overwhelmed with doing my bookkeeping, working as a corporate accountant as well, too. I decided, you know what? And then I began to get tax clients as well. And eventually I decided I need to get a staff, and I also need to get an office where I can meet my clients. So I opened up my office in Columbia, Maryland, hired a staff, and we've been growing ever since. I've been featured in Bloomberg 3 times last year. I'm actually in the process of writing another tax article for them. I also have a lot of other nice publications as well too. Now I am gauging more into the government accounting sector. So it is a learning process for me. It's different from the private industry, different from the real estate and commercial accounting that I'm typically into, but that's the direction where the company is going at right now.
Oh, that's wonderful. Great journey. I could hear your passion. Even we were in the green room before we got started. I could hear that this is
Right.
something that's not only near and dear to you, but you're living life on purpose, which is a pretty cool thing to do. We're
Mhm.
curious. We're like, we should. If we're looking to hire someone like yourself, or we need to get out there. What are 3 things that you would recommend that an entrepreneur should look for when they're out interviewing and having conversations with yourself or others about bringing you on as their tax preparer, or for their accountant? And
Mhm.
that's question number 1.
Okay. So I think that the key things to look for if you're looking for a bookkeeper or a tax preparer is, number one, see if they have any online presence. There's a lot of people over promising different things. You're going to get this refund. You're going to get this. And see if they have a strong online preference. If they have a business, look at their reviews, number one. Number two, whenever you engage with them, see if they are actually answering your questions and not trying to sell you on what they're going to do for you. How can someone address what they're going to do for you if they don't know what your needs are? So just make sure they're clearly addressing your needs. Your tax preparer or accountant should be taking notes when you first meet them, asking you questions that can so they can know how to better assist you. And if they're not doing those things, they're just telling you, well, this is my rate and this is what I do. How are you going to know that they're going to actually, I guess, suit your needs, suit the business needs, if they haven't even found out what your needs are?
And for the person that says, "Okay, got it, I'm there," but I'm thinking, can I do my own books and kind of just give it to the accountant and give it to you guys, and then let you guys audit it? And so I guess share a little bit about the challenges for an entrepreneur to be
Mhm.
putting stuff into QuickBooks, downloading the bank account. Ladies and gentlemen,
Mhm.
I've tried it all, and today I suggest you meet with Sabrina James. So it's best to let them have an accountant, have a bookkeeper, and
Mhm.
they just do what they do. Which we don't like getting a call from our bookkeeper, our accountant, or our attorney, by the way. But when you get the call, you
Mhm.
get to answer the questions. But let me go to the expert. The challenges of an entrepreneur doing their own books and then turn it over to the accountant to file the taxes. What's one or two of the challenges of that?
Ooh, there's a lot of challenges to that. But one, and I'm not saying anyone is
It sounds so
incapable
easy,
of
don't you?
doing.
They're like, "Oh, I can do this myself. I can do project
Yeah,
management."
and until we get it and they realize, oh, I didn't know that this account should be on the balance sheet and not on a profit and loss statement. So really, and that happens actually quite often. I get clients that say, "Oh, I have a QuickBooks account." I said, I want to do a financial analysis. It's normally my first step. Let me look at your financials before I go
Yeah.
reporting anything on your tax return." And it takes us a lot of time to go back and try to clean up these books because everybody doesn't necessarily know how the whole process works with QuickBooks Online. It is user friendly, but it is designed for accountants and bookkeepers who know how to categorize and how to do the bank reconciliation, how to understand and interpret financial statements. So if you don't know all of those 3 things, I would recommend hiring someone. And because if you do it yourself, we have to undo what you did and then go back and do it correctly. So you're paying almost like more time to do it than somebody to do it first, correct the first time. So I would suggest, do some training videos if you feel like you're capable of doing it. But my advice would hire an expert to do your bookkeeping and accounting, because you don't want to submit something that's not accurate. And then you're getting a tax letter, or the bank is, looking at you like, this doesn't make sense. Why is this account on your balance sheet? And this is, deterring you away from possible loan or funding opportunities. So having someone to, I guess, do the day-to-day duties of doing the bookkeeping, and plus it to save you time. You can focus your time on whatever your business is. If you're in landscape, you can focus your time in landscape. And if you're in entertainment, you can focus your energy and time in that, rather than spending hours trying to figure out bookkeeping, trying to figure out if it's correct or anything else. So yeah.
Thanks for sharing. One of my favorite segments is when we talk about mentors. And I like to always ask the question, of all the mentors you had on this journey of life, what's one lesson you learned from any of the mentors that you can pass on to us? And you, for the audience, I love doing this. And thank you for all your comments, by the way, for those that follow us daily, every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I do read every comment. And those that are on YouTube, thank you so much. And those that email me, thank you so much. But it's because you can lean forward and you can take this principle that's been passed down to Sabrina, and she's paying it forward to you. And that's like golden. I mean, wouldn't you want to know what someone else has found to be successful, and you can get those tools and you can model that tool? Isn't that what it's about? So Sabrina, the question is, of all the mentors you had, what's one mentor or one lesson you learned from that mentor that you can pass on to us that we now can benefit from?
I think one of the lessons I've learned from my mentor is have a complete vision of what you want before you take action. So start from that ending point, if it's X amount of dollars, or if it's this goal and this certification, and work backwards with writing down that plan. And then you know how to move forward. Because a lot of times we put a lot of energy and work in things that we don't need to necessarily do because we didn't fully think about it, right? So we're wasting time, we're wasting energy, we're wasting money. So I think is being able to envision that, be a visionary for your business, being able to see exactly what you want. Don't just think of, oh, I just want to make money. Well, how much money exactly do you want to make? Be able to define your vision and be able to articulate that to others. What I've noticed, if you're able to articulate what your business goals are, you'll have so much more help, rather than just saying, I have a business. This is what I'm doing now. This is the process. But people want to know, again, too, how can you benefit them, as well as how can they benefit you? So being able to articulate that to someone is really key as well, too. In addition to being a visionary, have a vision for your business. Before I even started Account-tastic or thought about it, I saw it in my head. I knew exactly what type of office I wanted. I knew what type of employees I wanted to hire. Of course, there's the loopholes and, challenges that come. But I knew pretty much exactly what I wanted to do with my business and which direction I wanted it to go. So I'm just not, going with the wind. Wherever the wind takes you, not going there. But you have a clear target in your business goals.
What do you do for fun when you're not out saving the world? When you're not out doing the accounting and the taxes, yucky. But it puts a smile on your face to do that stuff. I still don't understand debits and credits, right? I know. But I love it when they say there's a profit, until they say, well, this is the taxable profit. But anyway, are you sure that's all my money? Are you sure that's mine? But what do you do for fun when you're not out saving entrepreneurs like us and making our life better and making sure we're in compliance and that we don't spend 1 penny more than we should to the IRS, or 1 penny less? That's I view your job. But anyway.
Right. I really enjoy being an accountant because I love to help people. I love that. I love when people call me and say, hey, Sabrina, oh my God, I learned so much for you. So I constantly pour into myself. I know this probably seems very boring, but I love to read. I'm really into reading about law of attraction. So pretty much whatever you think about is what you attract, right? So I'm always cautious of my thoughts. And I love learning about pouring within myself. I do entertainment. I'm a social butterfly. I can go pretty much in any social sector and communicate with people and have fun. But most importantly, I work on myself, self-development, a better Sabrina 2.0. So when I pour into myself, I'm able to pour into other people as well, too.
Okay. Well, thanks so much for sharing. We have a segment here called Today is My January 1st. And for those folks that wait for that moment, every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can go ahead and now say those magic words. Today is my January 1st. Doesn't that feel good? It's like
It's
a
my
happy New
January
Year
1st.
moment for you, right?
Mhm.
But for those folks that are tuning in for the very first time, today is our January 1st. We want to first welcome you, obviously, here. It represents a do-over. It's our personal mantra. It represents a fresh start. Today is our January 1st means that our past, no matter what the past is, no matter what's gone on, it no longer equals the future. And so my question to Sabrina James is, when you hear those words, today is my January 1st, what do you hear? And what was one of your January 1st moments?
One of my very first January the 1st moments was when I started my own business and I did it full time. And I think it was one of those when I was first featured in Bloomberg Tax, because many times I would just listen to Bloomberg on the radio, right? But to be featured in their article and online and communicate with a lot of great chief executives, it was one of those moments. Not that I've made it. I feel like I want to do so much more, but it was one of those, what we call, I guess Oprah says, those aha moments, or your January 1st moment where you feel like I'm redefining who I am. I come from a long background of family history of poverty. So me being able to be featured in such a prestigious magazine or online article was one of those moments where I feel like it was a January 1st moment for me, that I have redefined myself.
Congratulations to you. What type of clients do you work with these days, if your firm's taking on any clients? And how can folks best connect with you over and beyond this conversation?
Sure. So I work with several clients from different industries. Most of my clients are in the professional service industry, meaning that professional services, lobbyists, or uh, there's so many different ones: nail salon, cleaning services, trucking industry. But my niche is in real estate accounting. So I have a lot of clients that's in the real estate sector. However, I am accepting new clients, tax preparation clients. I work with a lot of small businesses, tax preparation. I do S corporation, C corporation, partnership tax return, personal tax preparation as well, in addition to tax planning. So that's open to the general public in terms of accepting clients for tax preparation. Just know I am one tax preparer that is strictly by the book. So don't call me asking for little small things that's not legal. I would say that. And then as far as accounting clients, I am in the process of, again, my direction is going more towards government accounting. But even with that happening, I'm still accepting private industry accounting. So I have corporate clients as well too, like big corporations, big real estate corporations that my firm do accounting for as well.
Well, congratulations to you. Thank you so much. First, let me say thank you so much for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. We appreciate it.
Yes, I'm excited to be here, and I love your energy, Chief. Please keep it going.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's an honor. And thank you, the viewers. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here. Without you, there is no show. So we appreciate every share. We appreciate everyone that has subscribed to our YouTube channel. We thank you so much. And I want to share with you, because I love to share every evening at 11 p.m., that you're awesome. So if you haven't heard that today, you're amazing. If you haven't heard that today, you've got greatness so much inside of you. And for you, today is your January 1st. That means your best is still yet to come. Your best is yet to come. Your best is still yet to come. With that being said, my name, by the way, is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. And I promise you, from the bottom of my heart, we're going to make some good things happen. We connect again next time. Remember this: time is long. Life is short. You got to live in the moment, and you got to make it count. God bless me. Wish you success. Thanks a lot, Sabrina James. We'll see you. You're in the DMV.
Yes, let's catch up soon.
Bye-bye.
All right.